Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 2025 film Wolfman, and this is directed by Leigh Whannell and stars Christopher Abbott, Julie Garner and Matilda Firth. When Blake and his family take a country break and visit his old family home, they are attacked by a creature in the middle of the night. As they barricade themselves in, Blake seems to slowly become unrecognisable. Now guys, just before I get into it, I just want to explain I've been really unwell the last few days, hence why this review is a little bit late. So if you hear a little bit of difference in my voice here and there, it's because I've had all sorts of phlegm going out of it and stuff. I've been coughing my guts up. So just a heads up right there. But I'll try and keep this as normal as I usually do, if I can help it. Now, believe it or not, guys, this is actually my most anticipated movie of 2025. And it's weird that 20 days into the year, and this was the first movie I've watched this out of this year, that it's come and gone. But I love The Wolfman from 1941. I think it's the best werewolf movie ever made. And the fact that Leigh Whannell was going to do his own take on this story is the reason that really pushed it to my #1 spot for most anticipated of the year, because I think he's got 3 out of 3 so far. Insidious Chapter 3 is the best sequel in that franchise for me. Upgrade was a great sci-fi thriller I really loved that came from nowhere, and Invisible Man was my second favourite movie of 2020, and he's going to be doing another take on the Universal monster. I mean, that worked so well, so I was excited to see what he was going to do here and see if we could get 4 out of 4. And whilst I do love The Wolfman, this is a totally different way of telling the story of this character, and Leigh Whannell just goes in a bold new direction. And I really appreciated him for doing that, because why do the same sort of thing? You know, I like new original ideas. Now, this is more reminiscent of Cronenberg's The Fly, more of a body horror film where you just see this person deteriorate and turn into an actual monster. But there are many, many famous werewolf transformation scenes out there. It's one of the first things you talk about when you talk about American Werewolf, for example. But I think Leigh Whannell has just thought, what if we could do one big transformation scene in one whole movie and see how it plays out? And that's exactly what this movie kind of is. And I gotta say, despite what others may think, I thought the practical effects and the makeup design was handled really well here. Transforming Abbott scene by scene really worked well, and he just become more menacing and terrifying as the movie goes on. And they really do transform him into a really creepy, creature of the night, to the point where if you run into this thing, you're not going to stand a chance. Plus, when we hear the werewolf howl in this movie, it's no half-baked attempt. I thought the sound design here was friggin' awesome when it came to these moments. Now, I know Ryan Gosling was meant to play the main character in this movie, Blake, but with production issues and stuff, that meant that they had to go for Christopher Abbott. I think that might be a little bit of a blessing in disguise, because Christopher Abbott is really great in this movie. I think he lends himself more to a werewolf character than Ryan Gosling would. Maybe it's the brown sort of curly hair there, but look, if you look at characters like Lon Chaney Jr. or David Norton from American Werewolf in London, they kind of just suit the vibe of what a werewolf character would be. So yeah, I think it was a really good choice to go with him, and it shows in the film. Now, this is more of an isolation story where they're just locked in a farmhouse with this creature prowling outside, and Christopher Abbott's character transforming slowly inside there. So you really do feel for Julia Garner character and Matilda Firth's character. But I think when you do isolation movies like this, you've got to constantly throw obstacles in there. If you look at the movie Fall, where they're stuck on the skyscraper, they are trying to constantly overcome things that are thrown at them to make the situation even worse. And I think Leigh Whannell does that a couple of times here. Not all the time, which I'll get onto in a minute, but he does throw a couple in there, which I appreciated. The main one being Christopher Abbott becoming more and more dangerous as the movie goes on. Now, there's some really cool directional choices here as well. One of them being where Christopher Abbott is in the early hours of transformation, and the camera sort of jerks left and right here and there to show that he's kind of dizzy and spaced out. Now, a lot of directors have done this, and I've just gone, oh yeah, he's going dizzy there. But here, I actually felt it myself. It felt like I was kind of going dizzy with the camera. I think that was props to Lee Winnell for the way he made it work. So I literally sort of jumped into that character's skin just for a few seconds there, and I felt what he was feeling. So yeah, really good directional camera movement, I suppose. I also thought it was very cool to switch perspectives of each characters here, because at one moment Blake is talking to his daughter and we can understand her fine, but we can't understand what Blake is saying. And then it switches perspective to Blake and he can't hear a word his daughter is saying, but we can hear what he's saying perfectly. So they're sort of in a catch-22 situation there. And I think Lee Winnell was really great to put that across, so we can kind of understand what's going on with Christopher Abbott and how frustrating it must be of this ordeal he is going through. Also, I know I mentioned Abbott was really good here, but Julie Garner put in a great performance. I loved her in Apartment 7A, and I thought she's going to do a good job here as well. She's a very competent actress. But Matilda Firth, I thought, was really good as well. I've heard a lot of people say that they don't like her in this movie. She's really annoying, but I didn't find that at all. I know that can be the case with some child actors, and it can ruin the movie, but no, I thought she did a job, and I quite liked her character. However, guys, I gotta say the pacing of this movie wasn't great for me. It's a very stretched out runtime to get to the 90 minutes, which sometimes not a lot of things happening. First off, the family drama at the start sort of tries to tell a little story with what's going on with them, and you think there's going to be some kind of payoff, really, because it does delve into it a little bit more than it needs to. And I was just thinking, what was the whole point of that by the end of the movie? I mean, okay, they're on a broken relationship. They're going to this house to mend that broken relationship. And that's fine if you just want to do that to get to the house and give them a reason. But it seems to spend a little bit too much time building something up there, and I don't think that was needed. They probably could have cut about 5 minutes off that. Also, there'll be scenes of Julie Garner just trying the radio for like 5 minutes and to no avail, or his daughter asking how her dad's gonna be, or Christopher Abbott just lying there basically, all fucked up, not helpless, and it'll just show him there doing nothing. I mean, there's some very long drawn out scenes here. I just think they didn't really know what else to do. Now, I did say Lee Winnell throws a couple of them obstacles in there, but they don't last very long, and then we just revert to default afterwards. So it only breaks the pacing up a little bit. Basically, there's no momentum, and even though there's a lot to like here, I gotta say, even for a 90-minute movie, sometimes it does just feel a little bit boring. And I hate using that word for movies because that's the worst word you can use. But that's how I felt. Also, if you love the whole werewolf lore in your werewolf movies and stuff, there's not really any of that here. It doesn't really feel like a werewolf movie to me, which is weird to say, but it feels more like a body horror film. So just a heads up there. I'm just going to go ahead and make this movie now. I'm going to give Wolfman a 6 out of 10. A little bit of a disappointment for me, I'm not going to lie. I did expect a little bit more from Lee Winnell, but let's hope he picks it up with his next film. Okay, guys, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for Wolfman is that Blake and Charlotte's daughter is actually called Ginger, which is a little nod to the movie Ginger Snaps. Okay, guys, hope you all enjoyed this review. Please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to this channel. It really helped me out. Sorry if my voice was just a little bit out of place there, but should be okay for the next video. Thanks so much. You take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.